Alright, finally got started on the actual game. It's been almost 2 months since the last video. I was hoping that I could have finished at least the core game loop by this point, but alas, I still am not disciplined enough. When I first prepared to work on this video, I realized that I only did something on 12 out of the last 30 days. 12 out of 30, 40%. The last video was 7 days worked out of 18 total, so it seems I didn't really improve here, although that included video editing, and I didn't finish this video, that day. In fact, I didn't do anything for almost 3 weeks afterward. Essentially had a relapse. But I'm still hopeful that maybe I can power through the core gameplay and basic menus before the month ends, which only gives about a week of time. Perhaps a bit unrealistic considering my horrible track record so far. Anyways, I forgot to mention in the previous video, but I want to make sure that this list is the most that I'll ever try to do for now. And I'll only take off items from this list if I feel it necessary, and never add any more. That way, I'll be able to keep scope creep in check. Oh, and the purple items at the bottom, they're also all optional. They represent polished tasks. I decided to start off with trying to set up boilerplate for the start menu. I added a title placeholder and 3 of the default buttons for start, settings, and exit, and I simply log a message on press. In the process, I quickly realized I forgot how to do everything again. Deja vu. Forgot how to even assign functions to a button, and certainly forgot how to work with the new input system. I did look at some tutorial videos on other Unity topics, but I ended up deciding they were way overkill for how simple this game is. After, I thought to myself that I wanted to finish the core gameplay loop. It sort of felt like I was running away by doing the menus again. In the past, I'd never truly finished the gameplay portion, even if I made some random screens or static assets and whatnot, so I guess I felt like making progress on this part would truly feel like gaining some game development experience. Initially, I just started with logging jump on press, and then I added a rigid body to add some motion. After, I had a bit of trouble with trying to mimic the Mario style jump, where gravity increases on fall. I still wanted to make progress on at least one thing per day, no matter how tiny. Change some text here, add a function here, drag this thing in, etc. So I began to jump around a bit. I added a pause button that just logs pressed pause for now. And I added a text card for score that just goes up once per second. I do wonder though, do I really need to cast every frame? There's no limit at the moment too, so the text box might end up overflowing. Finally, I went back and implemented the controlled jump. The extra downward velocity is still in fixed update though. I wonder if there was a way that it could be implemented solely with input action events. It made me feel a little like the new input system was also overkill, especially considering there's only one tap control. Lastly, I added a script that just moves the obstacle to the left. I added colliders to the player and to the obstacle, and then created a function to check for collisions, where I just set delta time to 0 for now. Then just zombied out for 3 weeks. Well, as with last time, there's quite a bit to reflect on for this video, or my video making process. Last time I said that perhaps I didn't need to try to plan so much, or even any of the script ahead of time. Well, as you might expect, not planning anything came back to bite me. What ended up happening was that I just forget the details of what happened on a particular day, and I'd have to spend time going through the various notes and images and wondering how I was supposed to piece them together. At this time, right now, I'm essentially just making up these lines as I go. I also basically ignored the Trello board. Instead of committing to one task at a time, I kind of jumped around in the hopes of making any amount of progress each day, no matter how tiny. The active tasks in my Trello board quickly ballooned. Perhaps I should have just committed to finishing the menu, or whatever task was active first. Although, to be honest, this project was probably small enough that it didn't really warrant a board or that much planning at all. But with that said, it's clear that I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't know what details or objectives to put in the tasks, so they weren't well defined or organized nicely. And back to planning the video, I originally wanted to just record my screen for the entire time, but I realized there would be way too much Googling and watching tutorials and other back and forth. Certainly, recording the screen would work for segments like demonstrating what happens on running the game, or for time lapses, but just for dev work it seems like there'd be quite a lot of junk footage, at least with my current skill level. I even wondered, since it was such a simple game, was there even a need to try to make devlogs? By the next video, I'm hoping to have finished all of the non-polished tasks, so maybe it was a bit soon to try to make devlogs before I really had experience with one project first. Hope the overall tone of this video wasn't too negative. I guess I feel bad about not trying for 3 entire weeks yet again. Hopefully, I'll be able to make a last effort in the last week of this month. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.